Good morning, gang. Happy Tuesday morning. All right, back to it, going at it again. Being the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, is a real finicky job, okay? Trying to balance the world, if you will. It's thankless the way you wonder why all these guys go in looking young and come out gray-haired and grizzled when they're done 4 years. So we might be on the precipice of ending the Russia-Ukraine war by us going in. That's what I'm saying. I mean, we get into a scenario where Trump is trying to get us out of wars, and the only feasible way to end the war may be going to war. Try figuring out the logic to this. Now, let me give you this. Over the past couple of weeks, we've heard that Trump is trying to get back some of these hundreds of billions of dollars that we sent to Ukraine. Zelensky's like, we don't owe you squat. And Trump's like, fine, then you're on your own. Okay, we ain't giving you any more. So he's trying to negotiate some way for Ukraine to pay us back. And the way that they came up with was to have some sort of joint venture, joint ownership in the rare earth metals that are in Ukraine, that the United States would get 50% of them, to allow us to make all the products that need these assets. Let's use that as a term. And originally Zelensky said there's no way in the world that's going to happen. And now all of a sudden it came out yesterday that the U.S. and Ukraine are in the final stages of negotiation to basically give the U.S. 50% of the rare earth metals, which then would be their way of paying us back, okay? Which would help our manufacturing companies, make us less dependent on China, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Good. Here's the problem. The majority of those deposits are in eastern Ukraine. Most of the territory where they are has been taken over by the Russians already. And if the Russians continue to move westward, it will basically be all under Russian control. It's pretty hard to negotiate to get something from Ukraine when Russia controls it. All right? So then you look at the scenario and go, okay, the only way the U.S. is going to get these rare earth metals is if somehow we manage to push Russia back. Gee, what's that mean? Let's send Ukraine more money. I don't think that's going to happen. Europe is pretty much useless. I mean, they're like the skinny little wimpy 98-pound weakling kid on the playground who gets picked on by the girls. So they ain't going to be any help, okay? So the only way you're going to push Russia back is if we wind up sending U.S. troops in. That ain't a good thing. You look at them trying to call for peace. This is great, but the peace process is what each country wants is so ridiculously insane that both sides are making massively unrealistic demands, okay? The Ukrainians are screaming, we want all the land back that was captured. Okay, I'm kind of in the middle on that. And they're demanding that they be allowed to join NATO. I'm absolutely against that, okay? What you see is what you see. Just my stance, okay? And Russia's not going to agree to either one of those things. On the other side, Russia is obviously demanding that Ukraine not be allowed to join NATO, but also that NATO and American forces be removed or withdrawn from Eastern Europe, which means no more bases in Poland or anything of the sort like that, or the former East Germany. They want the defenses of NATO pushed back. No. I mean, I'm not saying America's not going to do that, but you can't say NATO forces are not allowed in Poland. Poland's a member of NATO. NATO forces are allowed there. Even if we pulled back American forces, Poland still has a right to protect themselves. And this goes back to what people were saying, including me, at the beginning of this war. Somehow this has got to be, an end has to be put to this, because the next thing you have happen is that Russia goes into the Baltics, or Russia goes into Poland, or any of the sort of this, and now they start pushing westward. We don't need that either, okay? Somehow, some way, this has got to be negotiated to go back to what the borders were back a couple of years ago before this war started, or more preferably back to the way the borders were back in 2014 before Russia took over Crimea, all right? This is where it gets so sticky, and everybody's like, oh, we just need to stop, or oh, we need to do this. Okay, we can stop. I agree. Getting some payback from Ukraine would be very nice, but sometimes you just have to cut your losses. If it's going to cost us more money, or God forbid, cost us lives to get back some of the money, how much is it really worth it? It's a 100% guarantee, if we tried this, that somebody's going to die, or that we're going to send money out. It is not a 100% guarantee that we're going to get any return on our investment. We could go in there and try to push Russia back all we want, and if we don't do it, we've already spent all that money, all those lives, and have we gained the territory back? If we don't, it's a waste. This is one of these things where, my opinion, okay, and God knows my opinion isn't worth shit in Washington, okay, cut our losses while we can. We've already spent $250 billion or whatever it is on Ukraine. I mean, probably about $100 billion of that is in Joe Biden's pocket, but, or at least the Democrat party's split amongst them all. But we don't need to be spending more. Tell Ukraine, tell Europe, you're on your own. Screw the damn rare earth metals. It'd be great if we got them, but not if we have to give you a penny more. Okay? You get peace, you figure out the peace, you give us half, that's fine. But of course, nobody's going to do that. We've already paid the bill. Now we want the service. You know, I've gone to the restaurant. I've already given you my credit card. Now I want my hamburger. This is pretty much how we are on this one. It's going to be interesting to watch, because with all the headway that Trump has made in a little over a month in the border, in crime, in all this, that could all get pissed away in a split second if we hear we're sending troops to Eastern Europe, to Ukraine. It'd probably be like Laos or Cambodia or something like that. We'd never hear about it until it was too late, and then it was like, now we have to send more. But this is how close we are, even with that big, beautiful ocean in between, how close we are to wind up having to go to war. We don't need to be greedy. Not in regards to this. I'd much rather see our tax dollars stay home and our men and women stay alive than give a rat's ass about 100 kilometers border east or west in Eastern Europe. That's their own damn problem. It's about time we stop, the United States stops, defending the world, being the world's police force, and thinking we have to have hands in everything. Biden fucked up. We all know that. He pissed away a whole bunch of money in a war that was never going to be won. Kind of reminds you of Vietnam. Okay. Cut your losses, just like we did in Vietnam, before we have more kids dying, more money going all over the place, and dividing this country even more than it's already divided. We need to stay out. We need to tell Zelensky and Putin, you figure it out. We need to tell Europe, we're out of here. This is your problem. If Mexico or Canada attacks us, we'll take care of it. But as for what you guys do on your continent, that's your damn problem. Gee, I sound like an isolationist again. Go figure. Pinball out.